Hello everyone, are you ready for another anime recap? Then subscribe right now to this Anime Plots YouTube channel and watch this full video. Did you subscribe? Okay, let's start the video. This is the part 4 of this series. Check the links in the pinned comment for previous parts. Watch those videos before watching this. Enjoy!
Renji comes to the place where Ichigo is training and tells him that Rokia's execution date is tomorrow and that he came to train in Bankai as well. Leader Yukutaki goes to Byakuya and tells him that Rokia's execution is tomorrow, so he says to him, what's the problem? Anyway, we jump to the episode 50. Because the rest is all fillers, the day of execution comes and the leaders start to move and Kenpachi takes Orihime with him so she can tell him about the way, and he passes by Ichida, Ganjo and Shadow to take him with him. And before Byakuya goes, he looks at a picture of a person who looks like Rokia, and the Commander Kanami, the commander of the 9th Division, begins to move with his companion Commander Kimamuri, and this is the first time we see him, which is the commander of the 7th Division, along with their deputies, Hisaki and Iba. The commander of the Secret Police, who is the 2nd Division, moves with her deputy. Remember with me well, I'm trying to memorize you the leaders and their deputies, because we will return to them later. The commander Kyurako, the leader of the 8th Division, moves, and Kenpachi meets the leader Kimamori and Kanami. Kenpachi stops and leaves the rest to go, except for Ikaku and that young man. And they are divided, deputies against deputies and leaders against each other. Renji goes and leaves Ichigo to complete his training and meets Byakuya and starts a fight with him, uses Bankai and starts attacking him. For a moment you would think that Byakuya is losing, but he insults Renji in a way that shows the real Bankai, takes out many swords and turns them into leaves like his sword, and we see him putting the feast upon him. He tries to stand but Byakuya stops him. He stands again and stops Byakuya, but his sword is the one that breaks. We have explained this before, as it happened with Kenpachi. Again meets Rokia and she remembers that she was afraid of him. He asks her if she wants him to save her. She just gotta say so and he will save her and her friends. Kenpachi keeps defeating the leaders, and the commander Kanami says that in order to be a leader, you must pass a test supervised by 3 leaders, including the supreme leader, or 6 leaders recommended you and 3 of the remaining which gotta agree on you. Or the last thing is to kill a leader in the presence of 200 people, and this is what Kenpachi did. And the leader Kanami uses Bankai, which is that he locks you in a place where you do not see, hear nor smell, and he is already blind, so you know the rest. Renji wakes up and sees Hanataro, who has treated him. Kenpachi moves normally, not as if he does not see or hear, and waits when Kanami stops him and holds his sword, and he can see and hear him, and there he smacks him. Leader Kamamura protects him and gets his mask broken, and it turns out that he is a fox.
Zaraki, Bankai.
He also uses Bankai, which is a large giant that he can control. And now the Supreme Leader Yamamoto will start the execution ceremony. And there are many leaders who hasn't come yet. The execution ceremony begins. The leader Yukutaki prepares to save Rokia, and the leader Yamamoto asks her if she has any final requests before she dies. Instead of saying she wants to live, she tells him to return the intruders to their world, and lifts Rokia to the place of execution, and operates the spear that will kill her. Yeah.
Ichigo!
And Ichigo comes standing in front of the spear and says to her, hi. And the spear attacks him and the commander Yukutaki stops it. The commander Yukutaki and the commander Kyuraku destroy the spear. And Ichigo destroys the execution platform and saves Rokia. The dead Renji arrives and Ichigo gives him Rokia and tells him to run away with her. The deputies leaders are running behind him and Ichigo wipes the ground with them. Byakuya attacks him and a fight begins between them. Commander Yamamoto confronts the leader Yukutaki and Kyuraku and goes too far to a place to fight. Yoruichi attacks Suifon and takes her to a far place. And the commander Onohana, the commander of the 4th Division, which is specialized in treating, heals all the deputies that Ichigo had hit. And the leaders arrive at the far place to start a fight with the supreme leader, who is their teacher. And each one of them prepares a sword, and the leader Yamamoto ignites and shows his Zanbaku. And this was the first half of the summary of the 3rd arc. Kenpachi's fight ends after the commander Kimamura escapes, and the commander Yokotaki and Kyurako take out their Zanbaku, and they are the only ones who has the form of their Zanbaku as 2 swords. Yoruichi starts a fight with Saifong, as she was her disciple. She uses her Zanbaku, and Saifong puts a butterfly mark on Yoruichi. Her Zanbaku's power is that if she marks the same place again, she'll kill the enemy. They fight more a little bit then, and Yoruichi uses a new technique, and Saifong remembers that her family was responsible for protecting Yoruichi, and when she grew up, she became one of her bodyguards. She loved her very much, until the day she disappeared and never came back. The fight of Saifong ends with her crying. Ikako ends the fight with Ibai, and they sit drinking together, and the sake ends, and they challenge each other for who will go to buy the sake. We go back to the fight of Ichigo, which Byakuya shows off his Zanbaku, and Ichigo uses a new blow called the Fang of the Moon, but it cuts off Byakuya and makes Byakuya uses his Bankai.
剣案ずるな後悔などさせぬ 挽回
and destroys Ichigo. He says to him, "Wait, I'll show you my Bankai." And Byakuya is terrified by what Ichigo has reached. And Ichigo says Bankai and shows the shape of the Bankai.
挽回
He changed his sword to a normal shaped sword and also his clothing. And Byakuya still says to him, "Is that your Bankai?" And he's surprised and sees him in front of his neck. Leader Hitsugaya goes to the place of the judges, but she finds it unguarded. The security system works to prevent them from entering, and Byakuya is still not convinced that the thing which is with Ichigo a Bankai. So Ichigo comes from behind and stabs him. And Byakuya leaves his defense and begins to attack. The friends stand from afar watching the fighting.
千本桜影吉
And the speed of Ichigo decreases because he is inside Byakuya's Bankai and gets Ichigo pinned to the ground and hits him and stops his whole body. And before Byakuya kills Ichigo, a strange thing appears telling him that it will be a problem if he kills him, as if he dies, he will die too. So you know. He grabs Byakuya's sword and he is the hollow inside Ichigo, which this is his first appearance, and we'll get to know him more in the next arcs. He keeps on cutting Byakuya and performing the Fang of the Moon in a different way. A fight begins between Ichigo and the hollow, and Ichigo wakes up again and says to Byakuya, "Sorry about the interruption." Let's continue. And before the fight ends with the last attack, Ichigo asks Byakuya, "Why don't you want to save Rukia?" He says to him, "If you defeat me, I will answer your question." Byakuya and Ichigo prepare for the last attack, and Ichigo defeats Byakuya. But he gets tired. Byakuya tells him that he doesn't want to save Rukia because this is the justice. And Ichigo says to him, "I don't understand anything." He says to him, "You won, goodbye." Guys come to Ichigo, and Hitsugaya breaks the door of the place and enters. And it is assumed that this place has judges who come up with decisions and rulings, and which are implemented by the 13 leaders without any discussion. And it is forbidden to them and any Shinigami to enter the place. But he enters and finds all of them have been killed since a while. This means that Rukia's execution date has been changed by somebody else. Deputy Kira appears in the place and runs away. Hitsugaya tells Ringaku to run after him, but he leaves to run after Hinamori, which she went to a place. And Kira's Zanbaku's power appears, which is every time the enemy's sword hits his sword, the weight increases the double. Hinamori arrives at the place and Gen comes to take her and tells her that there is someone who wants to meet her, and it turns out that it is the leader Aizen, and thanks her for being a loyal deputy, tells her that she is tired and then stops her. He takes Gen and then they go. And look at Aizen's smile and Gen's smile. You understand that they were together for a period of time. Hitsugaya arrives and sees Hinamori. Aizen tells him, "What? You found her? I should have caught her to a million times so you don't find her, huh?" And Hitsugaya says to him, "What is wrong with you? She did everything for you to become your deputy." Aizen says to him, "That's why it was easy to manipulate her, and I originally asked her to be my deputy for this reason." And Hitsugaya says,
挽回
and goes to stab Aizen, but he finds him behind him, and the leader Unohana comes and tells him that she knows he is a traitor because his body was a puppet. He says to her, "No, it was not a puppet," and shows his Zanbaku, which turns out to be hypnosis, and the leader Kanami and Gen were with him along with this, and he hypnotizes everyone who saw the corpse. Kanami goes to Rinji and Rukia and takes them to the place of the execution again. Aizen and Gen go there and ask Rinji to leave Rukia. Deputy of the leader Unohana lets everyone know what really happened to the leaders and the intruders as well, and Kira is being manipulated just like Hinamori, and Mayuri wakes up to the news. Renji asks Aizen if he is manipulating Hinamori and Kira. He says to him, "Yes, and I'm manipulating you too." And before Renji dies, Ichigo arrives. Renji and Ichigo cooperate to defeat him, but in the end, Aizen stabs the sword with his fingers and rips them both, and tells Ichigo to sleep because his role is over, because he knew from the beginning that he would come here to save Rukia, and he used this injury to confuse the Society of Souls to carry out his plan. He tells him that the Shinigami has 4 ways to fight, and if one uses them all, he will be a strong Shinigami. If you won't get past them and become much stronger than that, you have to break the barrier between the Hollow and the Shinigami. And he was doing experiments on this matter. Among his experiments were the Hollows that attacked the students, and the Hollow that attacked Kane, but he couldn't do anything. But Urahara made something that removes the barrier between the Hollow and the Shinigami. His name is the Hokeko, but when he felt it was dangerous, he tried to destroy it, but he couldn't, so he hid it deep inside a body, and this body was given to the Shinigami to wear, and this Shinigami is Rokia, and the Shinigami is supposed to be just a soul like Ichigo, as it comes out of his body. And Rokia, after losing his strength, she needed a body until she gets her strength back. But Urahara gave her a body that made her unable to recover her strength, and she remained a normal person, and all of this to hide the Hokikyo. And before Aizen completes and tells them that he killed all of the leaders, Commander Kimamura arrives, which he came for his friend, and he remembers that he met Aizen when he was still a deputy of the 5th Division, attacks him with Bankai, and Aizen enters him in a box and eliminates him. And Aizen completes his speech that he killed the judges while Rokia was still on Earth, and the one who was issuing sentences was either Gin or Kanami. This whole thing was from the beginning, from the time Rinji and Byakuya were sent to fetch Rokia. Anyway, he says that there are two ways to get the Hokikyu out of a body. You burn the soul with a need like a spear, in which Rokia was going to be executed with, or you put your hand and take it yourself. But because the execution failed, he took something from Urahara's invention and took out the Hokikyu. Before Gin kills Rokia, Byakuya arrives and the guard arrives with Ganjo's sister. Yuichi and Saifong arrive too. A Ringaku arrives and insults Gin, and the rest of the leaders arrive, except for Kinpachi, Mayuri and Onohana. And Aizen tells him that the time has come, opens a gate to the world of the Hollow, and takes Aizen, Gin and Kanami. Aizen breaks his glasses, combs his hair and goes.
そしてさようなら旅客の少年面白かった
Leaders and deputies are treated, Byakuya gets Rokia and tells her about his wife who died, which looked identical to Rokia. They were supposed to adopt her because she looks like her, but in fact she is her older sister, which she's the one who recommended Byakuya that he adopt her before she dies, and told him not to tell her that she was her older sister, and he apologizes to her. Kimamori is sad for his friend Kanami, Isaki is sad for his leader, Ringaku is sad for Gin, and Kira comes to apologize to her and tells her that he was manipulated. Hinamori is placed in an intensive care, and the intruders are walking normally in the Society of Spirits after the leader forgives them for helping them. Rukia goes to Kanjo and his sister, she apologizes to them, and Ichigo goes to her to tell her that he is going tomorrow. She tells him that she will remain in the Spirit Society, and opens the gate of the Spirit's world to get back to Earth, and the leader Yukitaki gives something special to Ichigo, as a proof that he is an alternative Shinigami. Ichigo bids farewell to Rukia, and they return to the human world. Orahara receives them and apologizes to Ichigo. Ichida goes, Orihime goes, Shadow goes, and Ichigo goes. And the beautiful arc ends here. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe so you can support the channel, and let us know what you think in the comments below. See you in the next one.
How was the video? We hope it was good. If so, please check these videos. Also, please comment down your thoughts and your suggestions for future videos. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing now to show the support to our channel. We hope to see you soon with another video right in this channel. Have a nice day.